Mr. Jason Schmalley. I'd like to remind everyone again that we're being broadcast on Channel 9, and it'll also be taped and rebroadcast between now and Election Day. We have more candidate forums tomorrow night for some of the other county races and some of the larger, area races. We're going to start this evening by each candidate. We'll start with a 2-minute introduction, and then we're going to go to questions, and I got about 10 or 12 questions, and we'll see how far we get in 15 minutes, and then we'll conclude with closing remarks by each candidate.
Mostly just a yup then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'd like more than a yup.
Okay.
Mr. Cook, start with your introduction.
Jim, thanks for having us here and the Chamber of Commerce for the forum tonight. As Jim said, my name's Philip Cook. I'm running for First Ward. I've been in Beatrice all my life, but living here 51 years. My wife, Susan, we'll be married 25 years in December. 3 boys, Philip at Doane, Hunter, that's a junior in high school, and then Christian that goes to St. John's on the Bomber football team. He wanted me to make sure I mentioned that he's on a Bomber football team. I'm partner at Cook Electric. I'm sales manager. Been there for over 30 years. Cook Electric has been a downtown business for over 50 years. Reasons for running: I like to work with people. I love to work with people. Numerous people have asked me to run for this position again. An example is I had a little lady come to the door and said, "Phil, I have a problem. Can you help me out with a neighbor? I can't get any help right now. Can you help me? I want to get it solved." And I came down and helped. I said, "Well, why didn't you call the city councilman?" "I can't get hold of my councilman at this time." So I was able to help him with them. Some of my strengths is I like to work with people. I'm a very good salesman. I'll be a good salesman for Beatrice. I see Beatrice as a bunch of potential here for us. With Vision 20, with Main Street, the Chamber, keep the Mall Association, a few others. We need to put all these people together and work as a team. That's what I like to do, is see if we can become team players and everybody working together. I just hope that you look at this as a positive way. I want to work with everybody. I would love to see us start working again with City of Lincoln. I'm friends with the Chief of Staff of City of Lincoln. He said, "I would love to work with Beatrice, but I'm afraid to. I'm afraid of their administration that we won't be able to work with them, and we got to be able to work with partnerships."
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Mr. Schmalley, your introductory remarks.
Thank you, Jim. Again, I want to thank the Chamber and for having the forum tonight, Mr. Nelson for moderating it. First off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Jason Schmalley, for any of you that don't know. I have lived in Beatrice a total of almost 18 years. I lived here a couple years, moved away, back up to Lincoln, and then I've been back in Beatrice the last close to 16 years. Living in Ward 1 the 16 years, and in my current house for the past 8 years. First off, I want to thank my family. I want to thank my wife, Heather, and my sons, Trevor and Zachary, and my stepdaughters, Cassidy and Kayla, ranging in ages from 10 to 16. I have thoroughly enjoyed the past 4 years I've been serving on the Beatrice City Council. I have chosen to run for a second term for just a few of the following reasons. I'm excited about the current infrastructure improvements that we have that are being made. While infrastructure is important, it is often overlooked until it breaks. The city has been successful in obtaining a number of grants to improve our infrastructure and our buildings, part of it being the Carnegie Project, Downtown Revitalization Project, the City Auditorium Energy Efficiency Project, Riverside Park Project, and the 2nd Street Project. These grants enable the city to stretch your taxpayers' dollars, and allow the city to do more for less. Second, I'm excited with the progress that has been made with the new economic development group, Engage. While the process has taken a little bit longer to get to where it is important that we put together a structure that will succeed for a long time. Finally, for all of you that have watched our budget meetings lately, we are in great need of improving and building up our cash reserves. I am not a person that likes to see a large amount of money sitting in a savings account when we have bills to pay, especially when some of them are drawing interest that we have to pay. Fact of the matter is, we need to have cash flow for us to pay our bills, and during the times of the year when revenues are low. I would appreciate your vote on November 6th and I want to serve you, the citizens of Beatrice, as Ward 1 for a second term. Thank you.
Mr. Smalley, we're going to start with you for the first question. What is your number one priority program or project, and how are you going to pay for it?
We have 1 minute on these?
Yes.
Okay. Probably what I would classify as my number one project would be the downtown revitalization project. That includes improving our streets and our walks, our buildings such as the auditorium and buildings such as that. As far as in regards to paying for it, we have opportunities out there for us to use, one of them being the Trails Enhancement Funds. We've used them in the past. We started out with our phase 1 of it. We were awarded a $30,000 grant, I believe it was, just for the initial study of it. Then we were awarded, I believe it was approximately $350,000 grant for phase 2 that then was the study of the buildings as part of the downtown part. And then the latest being the grant that we were awarded of approximately $30,000 for the study of possibly rerouting Highway 136 through Beatrice, moving it possibly 1 block south down to Market from approximately about 2nd to 7th Street and bringing it back in and tying it with Court Street.
Thank you. Mr. Cook, same question. What's your number one priority program or project, and how are you going to pay for it?
I would think my number one priority is to start building our partnerships back together. We have a great set of things going on in Beatrice, but we need to get our partnerships back together. I'll say this all night long. We need partnerships. We need to get back to where we are the shining star. I was at Easter with Governor Heineman, and he said, you know, Phil, a few years ago, you were the shining star of Beatrice, and now you're the black hole. What are we going to do to change that? Well, we have to build a partnership where we start looking like the shining star again. We need to work with Lincoln. We need to work with economic development. We need to work with the state. We need to really start looking at developing our partnerships. It won't cost us any money to start developing partnerships to where, like I said before, when I talked to the chief of staff for Lincoln, he says, I have projects bring 30, 40 people, but that's nothing Lincoln wants. Would you guys be interested in it? Would that be great for Beatrice if we started a partnership where they start feeding us some industries where we could actually develop ourselves?
Mr. Cook, you get the first shot at this question. Is there a program, project, service, or department provided by the city that you feel needs significant changes? If so, why?
Okay, say that again. That was a mouthful.
Is there a program, project, service, or department provided by the city that you feel needs significant changes? If so, why?
I would say the biggest change we need is on city council. We need a city council that is here for Beatrice, that's very transparent, has no hidden agendas. We need to be able to, at the end of the day, shake everybody in the hand and know that it's sincere. So the city council is the first step in this.
Mr. Smalley, same question. Is there a program, project, service, or department provided by the city that you feel needs significant changes? If so, why?
My response to your question, Jim, would probably be in regards to service. I think one of the things that we need to work on as a council is obviously we need to improve the openness of our government. I feel that it's decent at the current time, but I feel that we need to be more open with people. We need to communicate better with the people and the public. An example would be if you have a paving district, for example, where you're doing a 1 or 2 block or 3 block stretch of pavement. I think we need to be better communicators with the homeowners to be able to work with them and discuss information in regards to what it's going to cost them, how long of a time it's going to take to repay the funds that are being taxed on it, and access into their homes, in and out, and things like that. Another part of that service would be our website. I don't think we utilize our website to its full extent, and I think we need to publicize more information on our website.
Mr. Smalley and Mr. Cook, we're running out of time, but I'm going to sneak in one more question before we go to the end. The city has had several major community improvements in recent history. Library, high school, water park, hospital, Carnegie Building, airport. What do you see as next? Mr. Smalley, we're going to start with you.
I guess as far as future improvements compared to some of the past we've had, first off, I think some of the things you talk about are not just recent improvements. Those are things we've done 10 and 15 years ago probably. I already talked about downtown revitalization. I think the next thing I would probably seriously consider working on is improving our sports complexes. I think we have something there that is a big ticket that we could really promote in our city. We have opportunities to host state softball and baseball tournaments and such. And upon speaking with Mr. Petha, there was at one time this year for a tournament, there was like between 40 and 50 teams that were turned away being able to participate. I think we need to grow our sports complexes. It brings in revenue in regards to people staying in our motels and spending money on food in our restaurants and shopping and such like that, and spending money on fuel and that. And I think that's an area that we really need to improve on.
Thank you. Mr. Cook, same question. We've seen major improvements over the past history, 10, 15 years, and more recently. What do you see could be next?
Well, I can still remember sliding down the water park with Wayne Biddington on the first time down. That was quite the rush. But I think one of the main improvements I would like to see is downtown revitalization really take hold and get going. We have Main Street, we have a few other things, but we really have to find the funding to bring that to a dazzle. A while back on the radio, it was said that downtown Beatrice is dead, Beatrice is stagnant. We have to find a way to bring downtown back to a shining star. We need to find partnerships where we can bring everybody together and actually get us back together and bring Beatrice as a whole downtown to where it is just something everybody goes, wow. I have a friend that actually 30 years ago bought the Haymarket area for $100,000, had a vision for it. He has, if you go down there now, it's just unbelievable. That's something we should look at, making us a Haymarket where it's just something everybody goes, wow, that's where we want to be, is downtown Nebraska.
Well, we're almost out of time. It's time for the conclusion and your closing remarks. Mr. Smalley, you go first.
Again, Jim, thank you for the forum tonight, and I thank the Chamber for everything. First off, I've been honored to serve the city of Beatrice and the citizens of Beatrice, especially in Ward 1, for the past 4 years. I'd love to continue, for I feel that there's still a lot of work to do, in which some of that I am a part of those committees currently going on, one example being the library basement project. I feel our department leaders and support people, our employees, do a great job within the city and for our community and for the betterment of them. I truly feel our employees give their personal attention and they work hard each and every day that they show up. I've been very positive in the support of our public safety departments, police and fire. Big reasons for being continued improving efforts in reducing crime and the preservation of your property and life. I fully support our Board of Public Works departments and continue to maintain and improve our streets, water lines, and sewer lines. I have done just as I said I would do when I ran for election 4 years ago. I have attended the meetings with only missing one work session over a 4-year span, and have attended almost every single committee meeting that I have been a part of. I have lived in Ward 1 for 16 years almost, living in the same house for the past 8, contrary to some people's false statements. Simply look at my track record. I have input prior to and during meetings. I research the information within our packets as soon as it comes available online. I don't just show up and I don't pick my packet up on my way to the council meeting. I do stay abreast of what is going on within the council and within our city. And I would love to have full support from our administration that they know I'm not afraid to ask the hard questions, and I'm always willing to sit down and talk about things ahead of time. I thank you for your support, and I would ask for your vote on November 6th and vote for Jason Smalley. Thank you.
Mr. Cook, your closing remarks?
I'll start with Beatrice has so much potential that we need to look at. Yes, we have some empty storefronts. Yes, we have some empty factories, but you know what? That's potential. That's not empty, that's potential. We need to start, like I said, working to build partnerships with Lincoln, with Omaha, with Grand Island, anybody that'll talk to us, Marysville, Kansas, and let's really build Gage County up. We need to put our partnerships to where it is just unbelievable what we can interconnect with and things. As said, we need to also work on our cash reserves. We still have some wood sewer system in Beatrice. Our utilities, our infrastructure needs to be looked at. I would be looking, I would think when I'm on here that we start bumping our utilities a little bit. We're not keeping up with the flow. I'm big on having cash reserves. If you ever own a home and things, you know that things come up and you have to have money quickly. If we have a cash reserve and a potential comes in that we need money, we need to have it sitting there for us to use. If all of a sudden we have a potential to have a block grant, we have the money there ready to go, where we're not saying we can't do it, we don't have the reserves. If we do this, we're going to cut other programs. We need to be fiscally responsible, make sure we have the reserves needed for what we want. I want to see Beatrice where my son in a few years graduates from college can come back and say, I want to live in Beatrice. He says, Dad, now I want to live in Beatrice, but will Beatrice be here? I said, this is going to be the greatest community in 4 years if I can get in here and start making a difference for you. That's what we're after. We have to have a vision on how are we going to bring our kids back. Beatrice is, if you look in the room, isn't getting any younger except for the government class that had to come in tonight. And some of the tennis boys came in to harass me and make funny faces at me, but other than that, it's a pretty good time. So we need to make it to where everything is for Beatrice, that when we're done, everybody goes, wow, look what they've done.
Thank you. That concludes this portion of the forum, and thank you, Mr. Cook and Mr. Smalley. Again, we're going to take a couple minutes break and get the next two candidates up, and you're going to get tired of me saying this, but if you don't vote, you don't have a voice, so get out and vote on November. And thank you. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.